Uganda as a country is moving in a direction when it comes to scientific elections. The president has referred to them as a hybrid kind of election, but all of that is going to be taking center stage on social media, the television and radio media. Now, aside from the traditional media, taking a look at social media this morning in our Kickstarter segment and also Election Watch, let's first take a look at those aspiring for the presidential candidate. It was revealed that we'd have 45 presidential aspirants, and those are some of the names. We have Apostle Ben Israel, we have Honorable Chagulanyi Sentamu Robert, Mr. Bob Paul Akileng, we have Sendagire Isaac Salongo, and so many others. But some that many, as you can see, there is Dr. Kalim Moses Amin. For others, there's also Mr. Elton Joseph Mabirizi. Some sound familiar, some are totally new to you in different ways. Your ears and your eyes have never heard these names or seen these names. Now, in our conversation, I'm joined by Arthur Musinguzi, who is a social media influencer. For him, it's a time for a number of influencers in Uganda to make some money. Welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you.
I was going to say, how has it been for you in this time, over the 3 months? Influencers, are you making money or not?
Absolutely. We've not really had very many problems as influencers because most of the businesses that were online were still surviving. Sebeton, Jumia, and very many others. So us, we didn't really feel so much of the impact, but of course, because very many businesses that were giving these services closed and the staff were not moving because the seekers are not. So we also had that challenge. But mainly, we've not really been affected so much by COVID. In fact, it has been nice to us.
Okay, you have a few people in the country that are not complaining about this.
In fact, if it's about being essential, we are the most essential, seated at home.
Interesting. Now, speaking to the announcement of the revised electoral roadmap that revealed that this campaign would actually take place on social media, what were your thoughts?
I was very happy.
Why?
And this has been long overdue.
How so? When you say long overdue, why are you saying that?
For all this time, we've been not having social media taken seriously or on the roadmap of the Electoral Commission, but actually campaigns have always been done online. So this is not supposed to be something that is new so much for the MPs, because I was seeing them saying that they are not going to manage what is social media data, blah, blah, blah. But this is something that has always been done, and this is the reason that you find candidates like Museveni always winning them, because right now as we speak, Museveni is in, if you total up, close to 1.9 million, followers. And the rest now, say, Henry Tumukunde, who has just joined, has 5,000 followers. And then on Facebook, there's not even a clear page that he has, but he has about 600 friends, you can imagine. So definitely, if you don't take a quick advantage of this technology, definitely someone is going to be on the other advantage.
Now, when you mention technology, a number of people have argued that taking a look at the reach of internet within our country and also the hindrances such as OTT, it will be harder to reach that person who will go ahead and vote. But as an influencer, I believe that when you're tabling to an aspirant in these elections, you're telling them these are the people you can reach. Yes. Who's that person you think you will be able to reach with your influence?
Yes, about 46% of the people online are above 18 years. And Uganda has, right now, as of January 2020, has over 2.5 million active social media users. You get? So even if we say that let's put those people in a field, for example, a stadium, they can't even fit there. You get? And all of these are very potential people to give you the vote. So definitely you cannot leave out that space. And yesterday when I shared my post, someone told me that the radios don't reach where they are. So a radio which has a reach of, let me say, 100,000 people, and social media which has about 2.5 million, even if it was investing, and let me say as a candidate, I would invest more in social media than an actual radio. You get? So in that case, social media has the larger audience, has a large audience. Although the internet penetration is still a problem, but NITA is still doing very well to make sure that the internet reaches everywhere. They are trying to increase the national backbone. So the internet is going to reach, but also in places where the radios and TVs and whatever can't reach and where people cannot afford, at least someone can be on Facebook.
So your plan...
And about 10 million 10.6 million have mobile phones. So even if you just decide to use the SMS platform, which is also digital by the way, you can still reach a very huge number of people.
Now, Arthur, you mentioned Facebook, you mentioned
Yes.
Twitter, you mentioned that's where the numbers are. Let's take a look at what social media platforms, if there was a candidate who was saying, okay, let me try and use, which platforms would you advise them to use and why during this campaign?
Right now, the most creative ones and the video ones, the ones that allow video, are the ones that are taking over. If you look at TikTok, it has just come on the market, but right now it's in over 800 million people. And then Twitter, which has been there for long, is still at 340 million. But still, I would advise that someone should have a Facebook account because it has the largest number of audience of Ugandans. Obviously, a YouTube account, a Twitter account, Instagram account, Snapchat account. A lot of people think that it's about slaying and whatnot, but their message still reaches a very huge audience. In fact, Snapchat has even a bigger audience in Uganda, globally than Twitter. You get? So it's one of the platforms that also needs to be taken seriously when these campaigns come. But apart from that, those are the main platforms that one needs to invest in.
Okay. Now, as you mentioned all of that, for a number of people who are watching, some might relate and say, okay, yes, I know Snapchat, yes, I know Instagram, yes, I know Facebook. But there is that candidate who's saying, what is this gentleman talking about? All I know is WhatsApp,
Yes,
and that is it.
Absolutely. Well, WhatsApp comes third in the rank of social media that are most used. And the best thing about WhatsApp is that all age groups are there. All people all levels of income are there, you get, and it starts from 16 years. And if you shared something on WhatsApp right now, in fact, it would spread in like a minute. You've seen forwarded messages, I'm sure. So WhatsApp is another platform that can also be used. But these guys need to get serious. Like I was telling you, it is time to wake up. The people who came in 2010, like Museveni, who created their social media accounts, are now enjoying the benefits of large audiences. He doesn't even need to go to a radio station. He can just live stream, have his Periscope on Twitter, Facebook Live, and he has the audience already. You remember even, I think Bobby Wine did, was it a concert or something? And it was all over. Did he even need anyone, you know, any media house or anything? Just social media. So these guys need to take serious advantage of this. And I remember Trump, if you saw, he was not so much online, and Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, was so present. But when he came, he took Twitter seriously. And that's the reason mainly, okay, apart from other things, this man and whatnot, but he quickly got a social media audience. So these guys should not give up and quickly make accounts.
Now, when you're making a plan for any candidate, one of the things is that they had already planned based on the earlier roadmap that was released by the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it has changed because COVID-19 is here and we're finding a way forward.
Yes.
But telling someone in 6 months, you can grow your numbers, you need to get serious. This is a person who has not had an idea about Twitter. You say Periscope, you mentioned Snapchat. It's confusion for some people. How does someone go forward now?
Well, that's where we come in as social media influencers. You know, to win, obviously they are going to benefit so much in future. So this is the time to also utilize people that have always been doing this for a very long time. Social media influencers have very big audiences. They can package the message in a more understandable way than the candidate would give it out to the people online. And then they can also manage pages. Others can do graphics, photography, live streaming, so many things. You get? So this is the time that these guys are supposed to get content creators to manage their pages and what. They don't even have to touch any phone.
But that's
Employ these people, let them do the campaigns for you, shine, eat your money, give them their half also, and then everyone is happy.
But doesn't it lose the ability to actually be in touch with the candidate, knowing that there's this entire team doing everything, tweeting for him? Some of them may not even be his thoughts, but because there's someone else who's trying to do it for him. That touch, because when it's a campaign rally, we know that if you ask the question to the candidate, you are hearing what he's saying. But on this other side, someone is doing it for him. So the ability for the electorate to
in most cases, let me say, for the previous elections, for the previous elections that I've worked on, actually, and campaigns, you would find that a candidate is got, let me say I come to you, and I specifically give you the feedback that is coming from your page, and that's exactly what you reply, and that's exactly what I give, and you give it to me exactly as you want it, and that's how I give it to the people. I don't even change anything. So the touch is still there, and the candidate will always see the feed that is there and say, oh, okay, I know this person from my village, they've said hi. Good. So the touch does not actually get lost within the campaigns. Absolutely not.
Now, the Daily Monitor, one of the top stories in the Daily Monitor is the cost of the election. You mentioned that, well, you just have to give me my money and I will do what I have to do for you. We have a whole team to help you.
Absolutely.
Now, how much would you be charging for something like this? Because if the costs are going higher, chances are being able to actually pay you will even be harder.
Yes, I was seeing that story, and the president spent about 700 and something billion.
73 billion.
Yes. Then Mbabazi spent about 60 billion.
66
so,
billion.
Yes. So in that case, if you can give 1 million to one influencer for a month, and they do for you live streaming, they do for you graphics, they do manage for you your page, and also put for you some posts on their pages, 1 million wouldn't be a bad idea for, like every month until the elections are done. So that everyone is out, because that's a very big budget.
6 million. And what would that entail? What would you have to do in that time? Breaking it down.
Yes, you do for them the live streaming, though that one would usually be on a high end, but you cut for them the budget. Usually it's like about 3.3 million, but you cut for them and perhaps work within 800,000, because it's going to be a long-term basis. Then you do for them the graphics, post for them the content, create the content, engage with them, and you do the live sessions. So when you add up all this, the cost actually makes sense, because, for instance, basic graphics take about, and obviously I expect a social media influencer to know how to do photography, for instance, graphics. So these are some of the things that they are equally supposed to have within themselves, so that they also take up, they bring a sensible budget and a sensible argument to give them the money. So if you analyze, let me say, graphics would be like 500,000, then managing the pages would also be like 500,000 or 300, then the live streaming, then doing the live sessions, plus, of course, someone's transport. So when you add up, it's about that amount.
Okay.
So everyone should get at least $1 million every month.
At least $1 million?
At least $1 million. I mean, if someone is spending 60 billion, why wouldn't an influencer get 1 million? Okay, let's say we've given it to a radio station which has about 100,000 people, when I'm giving you an audience of about 2.5 million for a post that is going to stay for eternity. So and for a small advert that you're getting in radio, why should you spend more on radio, for instance, more than the influencer's post?
Well, that's up to the candidate now who's listening and saying maybe perhaps there's a way there.
The candidate who doesn't take it seriously will lose.
But if I let you go, just one more question. Influencers within Uganda, there's a bit of a bias on the side of the people who are actually on social media and reading these things. Sometimes they'll mention things like, this is just influencers posting, and they move on. So if you have already an audience that already has a bias towards you, and just telling this to a candidate, how do you hope to work around that?
Well, this is the thing. Even the candidates have bias. Even TV presenters have bias. Even radio presenters have bias. There's bias everywhere. So it's bias in every media when it comes to media, or even the candidates. So, but what I know and believe is, as long as most of the social media influencers are very believable, and that's why they have very large audiences, and people believe in their messages and take them seriously. But of course, there are some few small people who will say otherwise. But largely, there's no one who's going to follow you just because they think what you're posting is bad. You get? So let me say, by the way, congratulations to the 1 million. So the NTV got 1 million. And you want to tell me someone is watching NTV online because they don't believe in their stories? Obviously they do. So these guys, we have big audiences. So this is stuff that is supposed to be tapped in, because these guys believe in us, believe in whatever we post, and they will definitely share it, and the candidate will definitely win.
Okay, just one more as we get out of this is that how many candidates would you be willing to influence for in an election?
No, of course, that's a very tricky part, because at this point, influencers have to choose whether you're going for ideas of the candidate or you're going for the money.
So what should they choose? The ideas versus the money? Because they'll say times are hard.
Personally, I would choose a candidate who has both ideas and the money.
Interesting.
Yes.
So go for both. And but if you have,
Yes.
if you believe more in the ideas, because that's a bit tricky, one would say just simply going for the money.
Of course, we have different, you know, everyone gives their manifesto during campaigns. So you choose. If you feel like, let me give an example of the 4 candidates. Let me say Besigye, Bobby Wine, Museveni, and let me say Tumukunde. If you believe the manifesto of, let me say, Besigye, and if you're seeing that he's giving you small money, but you believe in whatever he's saying, then you might have to choose your path and go with Besigye. But if you believe in, or you've been convinced during the time of campaigns by what Museveni is saying, then you would have to move with Museveni if he has the money also. But if Tumukunde also comes up and has brilliant ideas than the rest, it's what you go with.
Okay.
But in the end, it is what you want as an influencer. Do you want to earn, or you want to... Because this person, to be honest, this person is going to forget you. High chances. They are going to forget you. You'd rather pocket your money and disappear after the election. But what I know, most of them don't usually give up on you, because the elections are after, usually were after 5 years until it was amended. So they always look for you. And during, even before and after, they usually have other engagements. So they obviously need you if they see that your impact was good and what you are doing had an impact on their elections. But the impact is always easy to see, because there are tools to give you accurate numbers of what the influencers did for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that is a look at what social media influencers might be able to earn during this virtual campaign. That was our conversation with Arthur Musinguzi, who is also, I think your account is Digital Didan.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us on Morning at NTV.
Thank you for hosting me.
Now we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we're going to be having a conversation about why it is important to listen to your child. Keep it Morning at NTV.